let me address last month's incidents at UCLA. Disabled students, worried about COVID and frustrated that they found it difficult to secure needed educational accommodations, occupied the Chancellor's complex for more than 2 weeks. Among other things, they called for the universal mandatory recording of courses. They also called for mandatory, universal, and permanent dual modality instruction, in which faculty teach students both in the classroom and either online simultaneously or by recordings for asynchronous viewing. Now, faculty understand that the Americans with Disabilities Act is a powerful and righteous law, one that strives to guarantee equal access for those who need it. The law overcomes any abstract assertion of faculty academic freedom. We know that. We agree with that. But the ADA accommodations are granted on an individualized, case-by-case basis according to need, not preference. The UCLA students call what expand accommodations well beyond disabled individuals, beyond the ADA, and beyond the spirit of that law. The mandatory recording of courses raises very serious issues that may not be apparent at first blush. These include violations of privacy for both students and faculty and can have chilling effects in the educational setting. Once a class is recorded, no one knows where it goes. Bad actors can and do use classroom comments to go after students and professors in social media attacks. For students who hail from authoritarian countries, classroom remarks may put them and their families in actual physical danger. This creates the conditions for students and professors to self-censor and to withdraw from classroom participation, which in turn undermines the educational process. At the broadest level, mandatory recording intrudes on faculty judgment on the best way to conduct pedagogy. The students' demand for mandatory dual modality instruction is of a piece and has spread beyond UCLA to the other campuses. As demonstrated at UCLA, academic senate leaders are open to dialogue with students and campus administrators on how to accommodate disabled students and how to work with campus disabilities officers. Faculty are committed to their students' success. That is a bottom line of the faculty. But the faculty are at a breaking point after shouldering the burdens of teaching under the conditions of the pandemic. Faculty who have taught in dual modality attest that doing so is more than double the work of teaching a course in a single modality, be it online or in person. Look around this room, right? We are conducting this meeting in hybrid fashion, in dual modality. There are extra cameras. There are several individuals filming and recording. We have extra screens so the chairs can manage the room. Now, imagine doing this with no extra cameras, no extra staff, and only a laptop screen to view the distant participants. That is the current reality of hybrid teaching at the UC. And many faculty testify that the effort is not worth it pedagogically. Learning outcomes are not improved. Indeed, the data are beginning to show, and UC faculty report, that remote or online instruction is not a particularly effective pedagogical modality. As we saw last year in the faculty survey conducted by then Chair Mary Govain and on which we reported at Regents, a large percentage of faculty who taught remotely during the pandemic testified that learning outcomes were much worse than with in-person instruction. Now, of course, some of this might be attributed to the effects of the pandemic and all the upheaval that it caused. But it is the case that emergency remote instruction and planned for online instruction still share many common properties. And after 2 years of teaching under the conditions of COVID, in which many faculty experimented and innovated pedagogically, the distinction between remote and online instruction is today vanishingly slight. The current discourse around instruction strikes faculty as inappropriately market-oriented. It's a narrative that conceptualizes students as consumers and faculty as needing to tailor their teaching expectations to meet consumer demands. The approach disregards the authority of faculty as experts in pedagogy. Faculty know that instruction is not simply the transmission of information over a wire, but a matter of interaction and participation. So, want to know how to fix your toilet? Go watch a YouTube video. Want to understand the history of sewage, disease, cultural notions of disgust? Or maybe study how properly recycled night soils can support climate resilience? Or learn the derivation of the phrase going to the John? Take a real course from a UC professor. Faculty know that the value of a UC degree derives from the student's experience on a UC campus, learning with faculty and other students in classrooms, labs, performance spaces, and other campus settings, even John's. If campus administrations want faculty to teach in dual modality, they have to provide the resources for it. At UCLA, the administration did not want to have that conversation. Given that dual modality instruction is twice the work, crudely means doubling the faculty. And I'm serious about this. Without additional investment in resources and the hiring of more faculty to provide this individualized consumer mode of instruction, the university is diverting a faculty hired to conduct research, teach, and engage in public service in favor of a very time-consuming effort in instruction alone. This is not consistent with the comprehensive needs of an R1 university system. It subjugates two of our missions when all three must be valued equally. In short, too much time and attention have been devoted to the instruction side of the core mission and not enough to research. As I've shared in previous meetings, it's increasingly hard to engage in research under current conditions. It's not just the time. The financial accounting systems, crucial for grant applications and reporting, are a nightmare on some of the campuses. There aren't nearly enough student and faculty-facing staff in general, and those that remain increasingly lobby to work from home where, I'm afraid to say, they are less available for consultation. Not only is there a dearth of fund managers, those are the people previously known as contracts and grants officers, they often work out of state in different time zones and are hard to engage. The faculty pivoted successfully to intensive remote instruction during the pandemic, but they can't sustain this amount of effort. They're exhausted and feel unsupported. Younger faculty especially feel that no one has their backs. Without tenure, they don't feel safe to complain about expansive expectations for instructional engagement, and they worry that they won't get their next promotion, which is heavily dependent on excellence in their research accomplishments. They're looking around for other jobs. The devalued pension tier isn't good enough anymore to keep their loyalty. The pandemic has come close to rending the structures that enable students, faculty, staff, and campus administrations to support the social contract that provides the foundation for UC's success. That social contract has made the University of California the envy of the educational world. We're a public university, and yet we're also a powerful research engine that rivals many of our private competitors who have far deeper pockets and fewer mandates to serve society at large. We have succeeded not by breaking into factions, but by learning to pull together and meld our many strengths. Unfortunately, many are proposing largely individualized solutions that threaten to undermine the integrity of the UC as we know it. We need to establish mutual obligations and commitments. We need to remake the social contract within our institution. Perhaps the first step in this is to recognize that no segment of the university is responsible for meeting the individualized desires of another segment. All of us, Students, staff, administrators, and yes, faculty deserve to have our welfare fully considered as we plan our way forward. Thank you. I know this was a little long. Chair Lieb, this concludes my remarks.